Hey guys, Literary Prepper back again. Wanted to talk to you guys about water for the millionth time. I know I feel like I'm always harping on about this, but this stuff, can't really live without it for a whole lot. And probably also a little bit more applicable today because it is a very, very wet day here. Apparently, it's going to be a very, very wet week here. But as you can sort of see behind me, right there we have neighbours still during the construction of their house. We have no idea what's happening as far as that goes, but that's not connected to anything. So at the moment, all the rain is, hitting their roof and just running down through that broken little stock thingy and just hitting the ground and running off. And I don't know if you can actually see it or not, but it's sort of just cascading down the wall there. So not that it actually sort of does anything to us, it just means that our grass gets a little bit more water in that section. Sorry, there's the dog in the background. So why am I talking to you guys about water aside from the fact that it's raining today? Well, for that I'm gonna go back inside because it's a little bit chilly, a little bit noisy, and yeah, it's just better inside. Cool. So back inside, out of the wind and the rain and the noise and the dog doing whatever it was that she was doing. Anywho, so why I wanted to talk to you guys about water. So obviously you can buy water at the shops to put in your stores or whatever. You can buy, the big sort of plastic containers for camping and whatever from places like BCF and Bunnings and Mitre 10 and Anaconda. All your camping places, would sort of stock that sort of thing. They sort of start around the sort of $15-16 mark and go up from there, so you don't have to spend a huge amount of money for storage containers for water, or you can go even cheaper and just either store all the bottles that you guys buy other things in, like juice or soft drink or whatever, and just refill those, and then you can worry about the purification process, in an actual sort of shit hits the fan kind of situation, or collect them from friends, neighbors. Go that way. Just make up some kind of story so you don't seem like the crazy person who's hoarding bottles. Or you can be the crazy person hoarding bottles if that's the persona that you feel comfortable with. Identity issues in this day and age. I'm not discriminating against bottle hoarders. Anywho, so that is sort of the way that I would encourage people to go. Even if you don't have a huge amount of space, you need some kind of bottled or bagged water anyway. Even if it's just in a small capacity. You need some kind of water filtration system because it doesn't matter how much water you have stored, it's not going to be enough. And as you just saw from our delightful neighbours, you really need some kind of way of collecting whatever rain you're able to, because you can't store enough water to live off unless you have some massive acreage out in the middle of nowhere and you have water tanks for days kind of thing, but don't have the money for that. A lot of people don't have the money for that, so a little bit more practical, some sort of rain collection and some sort of water purification sort of method. So the bigger reason why I've decided to sort of talk about this today in particular was that I went for a walk the other day just around sort of where we are, and there's a number of different sort of little creeks and I don't want to call it like dams, but I think they're just sort of like low-lying areas that wind up being makeshift dams. I think they're actually supposed to be like some sort of drainage system that works very, very slowly. But I hear a lot of people sort of talking about how they have creeks running through their properties or near their houses, or they live near a river system or whatever. I'm really like if that's your thing and you know where that water comes from and what it comes into contact with, then that's totally your choice if that's one of your water sort of fallbacks. But for us right here, even just going for a walk the other day, people throw rubbish in there all the time. And I know that you can, do all sorts of things. You can bleach it, you can filter it, you can, run it through miles of charcoal and eventually sort of make it drinkable. But the question is, do you want to, and do you want that as your second or third or fourth option? If that's option number 56 and that's what you're left with, then that's what you're left with. But that's not going to be my number one option. It's not going to be my number two option. So we live in an area where garbage disposal is one of those things where the council comes around and picks up your rubbish once a week. And in a situation where that stops happening, whilst we have contingencies in place for what we plan on doing with our rubbish if that were to not be a thing anymore, like everything else, I have no idea what my neighbours' intentions are for rubbish disposal. And if you see what they do in third world countries near their drinking water or even in their drinking water, it really does not make me feel all warm and fuzzy about the potential sort of things that you might find floating around in the rivers and waterways around here. So yeah, I don't want to use those as like a way for my family to have water. And if you think about it really carefully, like where you are, do you have the same sort of thing? Do you have like a sort of bigger population of people living in like the suburbs where if they have a couple of bags of rubbish after not being collected for a week or two or three or however long, are they going to be tempted to just throw it down the hill and have it pile up in the waterway? Are they going to just leave it in the backyard and then have everything run off into the waterway? People probably aren't going to stop using all of their general sort of cleaning products and things, and people are gross. So it's just something extra to think about. So that was just something that occurred to me the other day, is just because I was thinking about what we would do with our rubbish, because where we are at the moment, we don't have a huge amount of space. But you've got to be smart about these kinds of things, and I will do a video in the future about rubbish disposal. But yeah, I can just see that the people around us, even in like our part of the street, we've just had a number of extra people move in. So before they moved in, there were something like 50 odd people in our street. Now there would be more. So if you think about the rubbish and that's just in our street, not in the surrounding streets. You think about the rubbish that those people would create within a given time period, it's got to go somewhere, and I highly doubt they're going to want to keep it in their houses. So yeah, unfortunately that means that the idea of using the water in those little creeks and dams nearby is probably not going to actually be a reasonable sort of thing. I think once we run out of stored water, and if it doesn't rain for a while, then that's a serious situation where we're probably going to be forced to like bug out, maybe permanently. So have a think about how your area would be affected by those sorts of things, because they're very real things. And for a lot of survival things, look at what they do in third world countries, because that's what people are going to default to, even though at the moment we live in relatively sort of prosperous surroundings. That's what people will revert to. So on that delightful note, yeah, just make sure that you guys have some kind of way to filter everything out of your water, because there are some things that a general filter won't be able to get out. And I don't really like the idea of drinking a whole heap of bleach unnecessarily. So make sure that you have some kind of way to catch the rain. There are bags that you can get, clear plastic bags, even if you just, have clear plastic bags, not just any plastic bags. You can actually wrap those around like big bunches of tree leaves, and over the course of about 24-48 hours, like the moisture from the tree will collect in the bag. Very slow, but doable. Just think outside the box with those sorts of things. So water catchment, possible tree catchment, stored water filtration, because chances are whatever waterways you're near, they're going to be contaminated or clogged completely very, very quickly if we do wind up in one of these sorts of scenarios. So yeah, if you found this interesting, like, share, subscribe, you guys know what to do. Still in the process, I feel like I say this every video, still in the process of trying to sort of fully put Patreon up. It is there if you guys want to jump on and throw me a couple bucks here or there, but it's not completely finished yet. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time, and yeah, food for thought. Think about what you're going to do with your water supplies. Remember, you need to put aside at the very, very least, 4 litres or 1 gallon of water per person per day. There's a lot of water, and you really need to think about it above and beyond everything else. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.